everybody. For this bonus step, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to add a little marker for our enemies so that they'll appear a little bit more visibly on our minimap. So if you haven't already done the minimap step, that's okay. We can still set this up. However, if you have done the minimap, you'll be able to see the effects of this immediately. So what we want to do is we want to start by heading to any prefab we have for one of our enemies. You're going to have enemies in each of your environments. So if you have the desert or island environment, if you enter that folder, go to prefabs, there's a folder called enemies. And if you've used the asset picker to get enemies, you've also got some enemies in this assets folder. You're going to want to do this for all the enemies you have, which can take a little while, but I'm going to show you how to do it on one. And then you'll just need to copy that object over to the remaining prefabs you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our player camera first. So any player camera you have in whatever scene you're in, and we're going to go to main camera. We're going to go to layer, and we're going to click on add layer. We need to drop down below this layer. You may or may not have camera block here, but we want to just go down to the first empty layer, and we're going to add a layer called minimap. Then we're going to go back to the main camera, go to culling mask, and then in this drop down, we want to uncheck the minimap culling mask there. Then what we're going to do is now go into one of our enemy prefabs. Again, doesn't matter which one because you have to do it to all of them. So we're going to enter the Ent Burning minimap prefab on mine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Ent Burning, and I'm going to right click and hit Create Empty and name this Map Blip, just like that. This is just going to be an empty object until we add a component to it called a sprite renderer. And this is basically just going to be a component that allows us to show an image in our game without a canvas associated with it. We're then going to select this none sprite, and you should, right when you open this, you should see this red circle here. If you don't see it, you can search for circle _01 _ red, and it'll appear there. So we want the circle red, and if we look on screen, we're going to see that he's kind of lined up with their feet. We're going to set its layer to minimap here, and then we're going to give it a 90-degree rotation in the x-axis. We're going to give it a scale of 2 in each direction, and then we're going to set its y value to 10. So it's not going to be that high above our screen in game, but because we set that camera culling mask to not have this object on it, or this layer on it, we won't actually be able to see that with our in-game camera. The last thing that we need to do then is just to select this, right-click it, and hit copy. And then all we have to do now is go into each of our other prefabs, right-click on the root object, and hit paste as child, and then you'll see it appear above your enemy. So you just have to go through and do that for each enemy prefab you have. There we go. So the check setup is going to look, specifically it's going to check the enemies in your environment prefab folder, whether you have the desert or island environment, it's going to check the ones in there. So make sure you have it on all the enemies that came with your environment. But once you've got that done, you can go ahead and save your scene.